Yes. Good morning, everyone. My feast hall name is Gondoch. I belong to the Canoe clan, the Killer Whale clan. I'm from the Haisla territory. I'm Hanaksena Kinano on my father's side, Kitsala Simshian on my mom's side. Both are survivors of the residential school from Port Alberni. Both have passed on to the spirit world. This week has been very difficult. Um, my heart hurts for the families of the Secwepemc and Shuswap people. And as the director of the school, I feel it's important for me to share with you what this day means. And I share with you and ask you to listen with your heart and also do with your heart. Um, I ask you to remember these children, these families, the communities, their ceremonies, and their cultural practices, because with a mass loss such as this, I can't even imagine how our ceremonies would be. It would be very difficult to do. So I acknowledge their ceremonies and our cultural practices as well. I also want to take time to acknowledge my Indigenous colleagues, my sisters, my brothers, our Indigenous students. My heart is with you during this time. Uh, I probably participated in the very first Orange Shirt Day, and um, after that, it was very difficult for me to engage, but I appreciate and acknowledge that the university has taken a larger step to create activities and events and awareness for this campus to know better and to understand better. Um, Due to the illnesses of my parents and due to knowing their stories, it's been very difficult for me to engage in those activities. But today, I feel it's important for me to speak with you because I feel like there's this isn't the only findings that's going to happen. I feel that there's a lot. I know there's a lot more children who didn't make it home to their families, and there's a lot more children who found the streets as their new community. And so I just ask you to stand in silence some point today, acknowledge the people in whatever way you do, and check in with your families. This is to my Indigenous colleagues. Thank you to our allies for standing with us. Thank you for speaking up. Thank you for walking with us. And for our students, this is lifelong learning. This pain has been with our people from the time our children were taken away. It's not new pain; it's reopened pain. Um, I ask that you think about how this informs your social work practice. Um, in one of the classes I taught a few years ago, my early years of teaching, one of the guest speakers I brought in was talking about residential school. He was a residential school survivor. Um, and he said, and he put his finger up and he said, the next time you see an Indigenous person, an Indian on the street, you think about his life, his family, his parents, his grandparents. You think about them and what they must have went through for him. And I never forgot that, and I'm going to say that with you. I'm going to share that with you. If you see our people, Indigenous people, on the street hurting, think about their parents, think about their grandparents, and acknowledge them and hold them up, however, whatever your spiritual belief is. I just ask that you remember them without judgment. Um, it's very emotional for me today. I have to attend Congress, which is the National Deans and Directors social work meeting. I go there to represent our school. Um, I know when my parents were, my mom particularly was still with us. She was so upset that my gran and my grandpa didn't fight hard enough for them, and she was upset because of the alcohol problems that they had. And I remember asking all of them, my mom, my aunties, my uncle wasn't there, but all of them had gone to residential school. I said, I can't even imagine what it would have been like to have all my kids removed forcefully. It wasn't until later in their adult life when they realized that the police were there threatening my grandpa to put him into jail if he didn't let them go. And so I carry that. That's my story. Um, and I have a bigger story to share with, um, hearing from my late mom and my late dad. Um, and when I want to share some resurgence with you from what I saw in both of them, because they both survived. They both were community leaders in the Haisla territory. My late dad was called upon by our clan chiefs quite often to help with naming, to talk about our Nuyum, to remember the stories of Hanaksela territory, our territory, or what all of our teachings are. He kept them in his heart regardless of what was attempted on him. And my mom shares stories of when my gran would send um, care boxes to them at the Port Alberni Residential School, and it was attended just for my mom and her siblings. There was four of them there. But what they did is they would take the care box and they would go into the playground, far away from the nuns and the security people. I guess that's what I want to call them. And then they would sneak to share with other people what my gran shared with them. And so for me, that was their way of preserving the gift of giving, because that's how our people are. And in most of our ceremonies, we feed people, we do giveaways, we blanket people. So by my mom and her siblings hiding to do this work, they preserved that part of our Nuyum. And the other story that she shared with me that's a resurgent story is that her and her friends would, Haisla friends would go, again, they would go and hide from security. I'm not going to call them nuns or priests, they're security. And they would, for as long as they could, they would go to these different places inside the residential school and talk Haisla to one another. And that for me, that was resurgence, that was resistance. They resisted. I don't think they realized it at the time, or maybe they did. That's how they resisted what was happening. And by the time my mom left this world, and by the time my dad left this world, they were both fluent language Haisla speakers. My dad was a fluent Hanaksela speaker. They're two different dialects. And so I hold my parents up. I hold my two brothers up. I hold up all my children. I have two daughters. I have a lot of nieces and nephews who call me Mama Jax, and then a lot of grandbabies that also call me Mama Jax. I hold them up today. And I just wanted to share with you today that this isn't a new story. This is an old story that has been realized and found. I'm grateful for whoever found them. It's hard for me to read what's on social media. It's hard for me to watch it on the news. And I haven't, so I've just asked my partner, or I've asked others who know about it. So I just ask that as social work department, my colleagues, those of us who are teaching to our students, I ask that you take something away from this. You learn some historical component about this. You figure out what it means for you as a human being, and then you figure out what you're going to do with it or what you're going to do about it. And if you can't figure it out and if you can't do anything, then don't come near it until you're ready. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. As a director, um, this is this is my message to you. I feel it's important to share with you today before the day starts. And I thank you for listening. Thank you for taking time. And I hope you have a good day. I'm wearing my orange shirt today. It hasn't come out of my drawer for a couple of years. So I decided to use it today. I'm having my coffee in a mug from my mom so I could feel close to her. And pendant my dad bought me when I completed my education, and my beadwork keeps me close to who I am. I'm in the city right now, and so this helps me to reconnect. So I just want to say thank you. I'm sorry for the tears. Um, I I shared with my partner last night that I feel because of my role I need to share. I can't not do anything. Um, because I knew I was going to be emotional. It has been an emotional week for me. So thank you for your patience, and thank you for listening. Escuelas.